So welcome to the February box, and I'm delighted to have with us to explain this craft chocolate and specialty coffee combination, Jamie Isetts, who is not only Square Mile's official coffee buyer, but also a very, very keen craft chocolate aficionado, done lots of tastings with us, and as far as I'm concerned, of great importance, also a very, very keen winter swimmer and a great musician. But anyway, we're here to discuss this month's coffee with two great bars that we picked together. So, Jamie, tell us a bit about the coffee.
There's so much to say about this coffee. Eratoi is incredible. So Eratoi comes to us from East Timor, which is a country kind of near Indonesia and Australia, talking Asia Pacific. We don't work with that many coffees from this region, so it's quite special that we're able to get this coffee for the last 2 years, I believe. Currently, we're using this in our filter blend. So as part of the subscription, you'll be one of the only people that get to try it as a single origin.
Wow, so that's a fantastic one. And it is just worth pointing out again that this is a filter blend, which we're about to taste it as the filter blend, but then we're also going to try the filter blend interpreted as an espresso. And you were saying just before that it really does brilliantly well as an espresso blend.
No, absolutely. We usually roast things specifically for their final use, but this coffee can do anything. So I think you'll love it.
It is fantastic. So walk me through. I've already been sort of like savoring it. It's got this wonderful nose.
Yeah, I think it's been a really interesting journey with this supplier in particular. So this coffee comes to us through a small company called Karst Organics. So they handle the basically everything going from when the coffee is in raw cherry all the way to the importing here. So that processing step, all of the fermentation, that stuff that really is important for the expression of the flavor is all done by Karst. And so we've been working with Karst for quite a while now, I believe, 6 or 7 years. And we've really seen kind of the arc of how these coffees have changed. And I think Eratoi in particular is a good example of how their work in really just sort of refining the details in how they dry the coffee and how they ferment the coffee has allowed for a little bit more complex flavor expression. So in Eratoi, in this particular cup, I'm kind of getting some sort of cranberry type acidity, definitely some sort of warmer kind of baking spice notes, a date-like sweetness, and definitely a note of chocolate, but I guess that's a little bit.
No, it's definitely
we can't use that one, can we?
No, you can definitely use that one. It definitely has the date and the fig and the cranberry to it too. So the first chocolate that you paired is this chocolate, which is just delicious. It's dolce de leche. It's sort of caramel fruit. It's made by the wonderful Duffy, Formula One engineer, one of the first guys to be making craft chocolate in the UK. It's a milk chocolate, 45% using Dominican Republic. And let's just try a little bit of this chocolate as we go with it. And I mean, I have to say, I think you've absolutely nailed this first pairing because it really brings out to me just those amazing milk, but also the fruit that you sometimes get and the depth of character and the depth of chocolate that you can get from Dominican Republic beans. And it,
Yeah, to be totally honest with you, I feel like this chocolate, it's almost cheating because I feel like this chocolate could just go with anything, But like the first thing that we said when we tasted this bar was like, oh my God, that's so delicious. I just want more of it. But it does uniquely pair really well with this coffee, which is just one more reason why you should savor, not scoff, right?
Absolutely right. And I think the other thing which I get from it is that as I get the flavor wave, which we talked about lots with James, and with you, Jamie, too, you really get some real complexity on the end notes here, which I think combine fantastically well with the coffee.
Yeah, it really rewards you actually paying attention. Which I think is particularly special for me as kind of like a newbie to chocolate. I think there's often kind of a perception that milk chocolate isn't going to have the intensity and the complexity of origin that a dark chocolate would have, but I think this one is a great example of how that is not the case.
I think you're absolutely right. I think a great milk chocolate has, balance, it has length, it has intensity, it has complexity. It is still very Moorish, but actually slowing it down with the coffee is just a great way to savor it. So for your second bar, you've gone to Peru via Portugal. So we have Susana and Tomoko. So Tomoko is an ex-opera singer who's now living in Peru with Susana. And they were actually our first Portuguese craft chocolate maker. And they have this fantastic, fantastic packaging, which to me sort of summarizes all that you should have in packaging. One of which is it's very symptomatic and emblematic of their country, where they come from. So it's in the shape of a Portuguese tile, and they're always different. So if you basically get 4 or 5 of their bars, you see these different Portuguese tiles. But it's also wonderfully easy to actually sort of store.
Yeah, it's a beautiful presentation.
It's
so
really
Feitoria
clever.
do Cacao.
Yeah,
is the company.
yes. I'm going to let you basically do the pronunciation because you have a much better accent than I do, which I would definitely butcher. But it's the most beautiful bar. You get 2 different bars, and this is made out of a Maranon bean. So this is a bean which was thought to have gone extinct about 100 years ago, but it was rediscovered in 2009. And it's exceptional in that it's very, very light and fruity, but it's also when you cut the cocoa pod open, the beans, about 40 to 50% of them are white. So it is an extraordinary privilege to be able to sort of try some of this. So let's try a little bit more of this one with the... Yeah, again, you sort of get... You start with getting lots of chocolatiness, and then you sort of going...
Eating.
But this to me is, Dominican is classic chocolate. But you always start with a little bit of chocolatey note. So you don't always, for example, if you start with an Ecuadorian, it can be just sort of quite green and quite vegetal.
That's a good point, yeah.
So when we say chocolatey, we do have a distinct, it's that sort of archetype you've got, richness. But then you get all this fruit, this currant, get a little bit of orange at the back. Definitely, this is where I get the orange and cranberry, which I think you pick up so well in the chocolate.
Yeah,
I
love as well how this one has kind of a particular sort of winey edge to the citric. Like it reminds me more of a blood orange than like a tangerine or something.
Yeah.
And I think when paired with the coffee especially, it just did some really interesting things. So let's try that.
Again, I think the trick that you've managed to sort of get here is 1 + 1 = 3.
That's exactly what I said when I tried this, is that this combination is more than the sum of its parts. And that is just so cool to see.
Mm. But it does, it's also, the coffee heats your mouth a bit, and that speeds up the melting, but I think it also helps bring out a few of the higher notes, the volatiles that you wouldn't necessarily get just from your own body heat.
Yeah, it kind of edges less. It becomes something more than just that blood orange. It kind of goes into some tropical fruit flavors.
Yeah.
Like something really interesting. Nice. Ugh.
That's great. So I'm looking forward actually to trying this chocolate. I'm looking forward to trying both of them, but I think this chocolate will be fascinating with the espresso too.
Yeah, I think
so using the
texturally.
filter blend, yeah. And also just the intensity, I think, will just come out that bit more. So super excited. We're now going to be trying this Eratoi. This is the filter interpretation, but we're actually going to be using it as an espresso. And this is my first time to have it. I know you're very excited about this, so... Wow. Wow.
Delish.
I mean, the filter was fantastic, and I would definitely advise everybody to do the filter. But if you've got the chance, try an espresso too, because gosh, that's amazing.
So freaking good. Yeah.
It is just, wow, well done. That is just amazing.
Well,
is just
I can't really
brilliant.
take any credit. I really have to say the complexity we're getting from this is all about the attention and care of Karst.
It is just amazing. So I think we should basically start this time with the Dan Person and Brian Horsley, who discovered this Maranon bean a little bit of time ago. So I'm being very ungentlemanly there and starting it again. And Tomoko-san and Sue Tavares. And we're just going to sort of see how this chocolate opens up.
Ooh, it's like kiwi.
Yeah, it is kiwi. You do get that green,
sort of like a
texturally.
gooseberry.
It is almost like that sort of, that skin that you get on the outside. It's, but it makes it a little bit, not less intense, but a little bit slower, a little bit more modulated. But gosh, what an amazing coffee. What an amazing way it brings out some of those, you're right, the fruity notes, but you get some dimensions I just didn't get.
Yeah.
First go through, and I definitely need the coffee to help me.
Yeah, I'm almost jealous of the people who are doing the subscription because, like I said, we're using this coffee Eratoi in our filter blend, so it's paired with another component most of the time. So being able to have this as a single origin is like such a treat.
So you subscribers are uniquely fortunate that you're getting this amazing coffee with these amazing chocolates too. And it is, I mean, honestly, just the after wave sensations from this are just brilliant. Okay, let's keep going. Let's now move basically to the Dominican Republic. We're back to Duffy. By the way, when you open this bar, do make certain that you look at the mold, because the mold is of a Formula One flag. And that's because Duffy shot to fame as an amazing Formula One engineer. In fact, he holds the world land speed record, the team he was on, for basically the fastest ever diesel car without even going out of fifth gear. And he is just the most amazing engineer. And it's the reason why his chocolates always have this just phenomenal flavor wave and complexity. Right. Here you go.
I would not have noticed that if you didn't point it out.
No, it is. It's a beautiful, he redesigned his molds 2 or 3 years ago. And he's most, I mean, honestly, every single UK chocolate maker we know will thank Duffy for having kickstarted the craft chocolate revolution. He's trained them all. It's so like Moorish.
Criminally good.
But the great thing about a great milk chocolate is it's not just delightful, and it's not just Moorish, that you can step back, just as the way that we're sipping this wonderful espresso.
Ooh, that's really interesting.
It is.
I really like the acidity of this espresso, this like interesting sort of like green fruits, kiwi, star fruit kind of thing, going with the dulce de leche is like an uncanny but really delicious combination.
And you get more texture.
Yeah.
I get more texture this time.
Yeah.
There's something about the
Definitely.
crema, maybe, I don't know if I'm using the right word, inside this espresso, which just brings out not graininess, but more of the texture.
Yeah, that's like
you get
really fascinating. I feel like when we did the filter pairing, pairing the Marignon with this coffee as a filter was, like you said, it was more than the sum of its parts, or like 1 + 1 = 3. And I feel like I'm feeling like it's that way with the Duffys, with the espresso.
Now, I'm sure this would be a criminal activity with this sort of espresso, but if you were into avocado,
Oh my God, no! I would love that.
I mean, I just think this is.
I will never be mean to anyone for doing an avocado.
So to me, this is like basically, if you haven't got the ice cream, but you want the avocado experience, this is it. This is it. This is just amazing.
Yeah.
So we really, really, really hope you enjoy this. Again, it's February, so we passed Valentine's, but just remember, great pairings. 1 and 1 equals much more than the sum of its parts. Next month, we're going to get a little bit more serious, because one of the things which has been happening to both coffee and to cocoa, chocolate, is pricing. And so Jamie and I are going to have a little bit of a deep dive into pricing. But for this month, just enjoy this amazing coffee, which you guys are unique in getting. These chocolates, so well done to Tomoko and Sue. Well done to Duffy for these amazing. And I'm desperate for a second one now. I just,
I know, right? It's so good.
Jamie, thank you so much for finding this amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Spencer.
And we'll see you swimming again soon.
Hopefully so. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.